Yeah, surgeon of death. I remember the nerves from your head. Certainly dead. Submarine cause I emerged from the depths. Cut them clean, I got no words to be said. Fuck you mean you never heard I'm the best. Chorus on how they ain't making a noise. When I roll with my boys, they be turning them red. Shout out to Beppo, there's beasts in my circle of friends. Heart pirates from my gang, we stay heartless. Start fires when I load up the cartridge. Hardwired, I've been used to the carnage. War dog, I leave him hurt when I give him the boot like a martyr. Who's fucking asking? Lay down the law, I'm not using the pardons. Step in my room and I'm moving compartments. Shambles, breaking my apart like I'm fusing with carbon.
Yeah, go to war with the poo, I got beats on the air and they ready to shoot. I ain't talking my fruit. You get played like a flu, ride around with my crew, better give me the loot. I'm playing with a scratch man, bang with a backhand. Straight in the badlands, crazy and madman. Stay in the trash can, gang in the back, long arm staying on me, finna spray with a strap. Blank. Pulling up with uses, Drake get the shooting. In the way we moving, anything you doing, bringing pain with music. See my gang get stupid, can't avoid my moves and know we ain't disputing. If you hear him, bet you disappear and hear him before you see him. Know you better fear him. Shout the coast is clear, they running, can't get near him. When it's said and done, the world is gonna revere him.
Metal grip it, lead tin is red to spill it. Get him sent into the medic clinic. Magnetic with it, any ferrous dimmers, they gon' know the score like this is Metacritic. Got some brass bollocks, all these coppers, I'm making them sink. Gibson attacking the amp noise. Boy got the gears like it's clink, clank, clink. My joints together, but don't call them me alloys. Law of attraction, chicks get in the field. Covering all the bullets and a bend of the steel. Draw them out, I call them north and south. I got two poles for them if they step in my field. Kid the killer with the killer, hit the kill the bigger figures and the sinner sycophant. Been a victim and I'll trim a wicked man. Literally, I'm just built different.
I got two sides swinging through the wind. Leave them chopped and trend. Used our luck up, story so fucked up. Where should I begin? Cards always said survival was sin. Mask on my face, I'm hiding my grin. We done lost so many, it's just me and Ken. So I guess you could say that killer is pissed. I got two blades, leave them two paid, I don't need third. Mask on, laughing to myself, I don't say a word. Already get the medal for you cleaving, never glass squeezing, that's too easy. I'ma support the ambitions, my captain his wishes, regardless of whatever problem. All of y'all struggles fictitious, so sit back and listen, we winning, don't care what it costs us.
For sake, X marks the Drake and head mask and cape. Our quests aren't the same, I'm steadfast and brave. See breast arse and fade, got chest scars and face double cross. I to test off these fakes 10 times as great. Red flag, step back, then plans get axed when I force a blade. Scratch men off the list, tell him he lacks skill. Cause if X won't give it to you, do as will. Dinosaur on the high seas, high freeze. Undercover sword, I be the spy team. Fight me like a carnivore, I make a guy meet my teeth. When the Allosaurus recognize he's mighty. Step into my zone, methods of my own. Like Scallop, I can shatter through their weapons and their bones. Climbed out the barrels of a minion story. You could find one piece, but you'll never find Dory.
Joey Bonnie, I roll this scrawny shipment as I sit and enjoy the bounty. Four fools around me, astounding. The only time I'm over 140 is on my bounty. Only female land captain in the worst generation. Racing my margaritas always moving. I'm a pirate. I would never help a stranger, young or especially old. I'd rather con these losers. Beat my world government, escape the ish twice. Defeated Blackbeard, but you saw the kick right. My claws are skin tight. The cost of this fight is losing your life quickly with old and thin white hair. Men don't even dare to murder me. Your money heads more than my favorite circle green. My bunny pirates will forever worship me. And every other supernova on this earth will see.
Yeah, man knows my name, but they know my face, but they know my bounty. Yes. It's big gang beige, crew on my back, couldn't move without me. Nah. Roll them up and smoke this folk, cause we do this loudly. If he bugging, then he get cut and this crew gon' clown him. You're really not worth a hassle, man thinks I'm an asshole. Shorty got me bricked up castle, judgment dropped the hammer like avils. 10 toes down, you step, you get tread on. New whip show me came with new tread on. Big body, now big body, you build like a mark, the sharks will get fed on.
Douche your fate, only I get to choose. Best pray the arcana spares you. Can't get your brain blown like the wind, that's a straw that I use. You're a dog made to take my abuse, bitch. Play with your life like acoustics, stay all hawk in the movements of bays or the ruthless. Came from the North Blue, so you'll never see me get blues if some go south with the cruise shit. Opposition think they damaging me till they take a look at their own buddied up team. Got captain status, so every chick that's bad is trying to be my dollar. Max 10's all I need. Don't fuck with 12, we ain't never fuck with authority. Bitch, I'm one of the 12 of the worst who really want war. Wasn't put two to your head like my head on my Jolly Roger. Move a beast that'll prior to life or drawing your sword at me.
Heaven and hell, the reverend will tell these the living disciples dead them as well. I'm the darkest angel, never enter my realm. If you enter my hell, let her enter yourself. I'm the mad monk, demonic, proudly off the tonic, wildin' with the monsters, yeah. I've been lacking conscious, I've been lifeless, off the cuff, I crave the carnage. I'm the mad monk, back up, don't act tough, keep a guard up, ho. Clash us, get flat, turn the eye, smash early, be starstruck, die, probably pull up with the pillar warning. Darkest archangel in your army, got the sauce across, can't even stop me. I'm high above you, peasants, you should call me God.
Spinning, chopping, beating up like a DJ. Fork path home in the field, cutting three-way. Black Air Force style, stepping like CJ. On a Geary, feel the fury of three blades. Cut above the eye, cut above the rest. Didn't leave a motherfucker dead. Three swords fly, hit 3 times. One up in his neck, one up in his chest, one up in his face, put him in his grave. Blade flow like kimono motions, no wino phase. I am known for the smoke like gelato strain. If I'm lacking, it's like nothing happened. I got a monster body, I could bottle pain. Hockey of the conquerors got him shaking. Like coke, metal pop, now we got a stain. Steel bite when I chomp on his waddle blade. Took dead to the chest, I am not afraid.
It's the man of the moment, the elastic opponent. The government can't get a hold of. Mad that I'm potent, and I'm packing a massive support from the vast of the ocean. They know what their role is. My crew serve a purpose, they riding the channel along with me. Can't try to control us. They'll be coming after this car next like a Discord VC. To beat me, you need a marine fleet.
And every one of the CPs could be a young or be a wallet, you ain't me. Whenever you hear me, my punches will get through. Living life going merry, I'm cruising over. Hockey color of the king, I'm ruling over. Coming for you old heads till you roll dead, truth be told, because I future looking bright like a supernova.
Where am I going? All right. Ayo. Hello, Fantastics. It's Mr.Clintastik, and today I'm here. First, we're going to start with a little, Phyrexia, all is one discussion. Then, I'm going to crack open some packs, because I still got a megaton of packs from the Brothers War I haven't even cracked open, so I'm going to crack open some of those packs. And then if I still got time, I'm going to try to jam a draft in. So let's do it. Hope everyone's doing well. Today I'll be using Mythic Spoiler as my source to talk about the cards. I'm going to get as far as I can. Everything's not going to be too interesting. And for the most part, I'm going to talk about them in the confines of draft and sealed. Those are kind of the formats that I personally play. I play standard as well, historic, brawl, commander, but for the most part I kind of hone in on the draft and limited aspect of the game. So yeah, like I said, this is Mythic Spoiler. Got our official spoilers ready and loaded. I think I saw Goldfish post something too, but I'll get to that later. Anyways, right here we got Quicksilver Fisher, 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 blue. Phyrexian Drake, flyer. When it ETBs, draw a card, discard a card, 4/3. I never like to draw this card in pretty much ever. I'm pretty much just like, just give me the value. Let me draw the card. But this on a body, I can see it having some value. Maybe you hold up a land or something and you're able to get some value off of it. 5 mana, I'll have to see what the rest of the set looks like, because we got some mechanics and whatnot in Phyrexia All is One that might make this a little irrelevant. I don't know. I gotta wait and see. So initial impression, 5 mana, 4/3, not bad. It's common, so you'll see a lot of them. You don't have to stress about getting them. Maybe you run one run of them. I can't even talk. You run one of them, maybe. I got to see if there's anything that'll go good with it. All right, we got Hex Go Halberd, 1 generic and a red artifact equipment. It has the new mechanic for Mirrodin. While it's your turn, equipped creature has first strike and trample. The equip is 2 generic and a red. First strike and trample. I think there's a few of these type of artifacts. Might be one for each color. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this yet. There's so many things I have to account for. That's why I'm doing this now, because as you saw, this isn't in a color order. The full set's not out yet. So when the full set's out, I'll probably do a color by color review. This is kind of giving me some initial impressions. But yeah, first strike and trample is pretty good. In red, I don't know. Maybe you want to go like red, green aggro, something like that. Next we have Infested Flesh Cutter. 1 generic and a white. Artifact equipment, uncommon. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Players dealt combat damage by it also get a poison counter. Equipped for 2 generic and a white. Whew, mouthful. Alright, so I like the card. I think it's interesting, but I think I'm kind of like a token fanatic. You slap this down, turn 2 or whatever. You have your flyer. You're just swinging in, making tokens. They can't block, though. But I think Toxic is really interesting. Let me go. See, Toxic is a static keyword ability that allows the use of multiple poison counters. So I think it's like if your creature has toxic 1 and deals combat damage, they get 1 poison counter. If they have toxic 2, regardless of if they do 1 point of damage or 10, they still do 2 points of poison damage. So I'm gonna have to follow up on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how the toxic mechanic functions. And yeah, I'll probably try the card SBMTG, strictly better MTG, and I mean it's in the name. He knows the cards that are strictly better, right? He didn't really seem high on this card. And the fact that it makes the Phyrexian Mites with Toxic 1 and it can't block might put you at a disadvantage, but if you're in like red white aggro, white green aggro, then there's argument from what I hear for a white green toxic standard deck. So I would assume there will be room for a white green toxic limited deck. I'll definitely try Infested Flesh Cutter. So far it's been my favorite card to see. Today, of course. Next we have Veil of Assimilation. 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Artifact. Uncommon. When Veil of Assimilation or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature you control gains 1/1 and vigilance until end of turn. Vigilance is pretty relevant. I always, I kind of discount vigilance sometimes. They often don't put vigilance on a flyer, so I oftentimes don't play them. But vigilance, when you're really trying to be aggressive, is potent. Sorry about the ads. It's Mythic Spoiler. They got to get their coins. I understand. But yeah, whenever this or another artifact ETB is under your control, target creature you control gains +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. It's not a creature. You'd have to really have some things going for that to be relevant. I'm not high on that card at all. I'm not big on that. Can we do it said picture in picture? Huh. Next up, uh-oh. I think I clicked something wrong. See if we can do it now. Let's reload the page. But yeah, I think Infested Flesh Cutter so far has been my favorite card. A lot more to see though. Dang, it might not let me go to that specific card, but you can see it here to the left. It's called Cacophony Scamp. I might just go over the cards like this. That seems to be pretty clear on the screen, don't you think? See if I can enhance it a little bit more. Uh-oh. Alright. That might be too big. Yeah. Alright, yeah, that's about right. So yeah. Cacophony Scamp. 1 red creature Phyrexian Goblin Warrior uncommon. Whenever Cacophony Scamp deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. Proliferate is a returning mechanic. Choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. So I found this out recently playing Commander. If your commander, all right, tangent. If you're playing Commander and you play your commander from the zone, if it dies and it goes back to the zone, it costs 2 more to cast the next turn, and those are represented by like little counters. From what I understood now, if you proliferate, you can up those counters as well. Y'all let me know in the comment section below if that's really the deal, but that was kind of insane. It's like you can make it cost 4 for my commander to come out now instead of 2, just because that was silly. But it also work on planeswalker loyalty counters, poison counters, you know, your 1/1 counters, your negative counters, everything. So I think that's pretty neat. And when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So if there's like a spell, like a red spell or a green spell, and it gives it, you know, let's say +1, +3/1, and or something, this dies, and then you still deal, you know, 4 damage to any target. This could be really good. This could be really good. And you have the other option to sacrifice it and proliferate. I'm with it. Alright, I had to click this one. It was in a different language. Jeez, they got a lot of text on these cards. Next, we have Awaken the Sleeper. 4 mana, 3 generic, and a red sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If it's equipped, you may destroy the equipment attached to that creature. Okay. I don't oftentimes get to play the snatch and sack decks, but that's what you'll want to do. Like if there's a lot of benefit off of sacrificing creatures, I think that's where you really get value off of that card. And I oftentimes don't lean in that direction, but it's cool. Prosthetic Injector, 1 mana, artifact equipment, uncommon. Equipped creature gets +0/+2 and has toxic 1. And you can equip it for 1. I'd rather this have +2/+0. But, you know, no, I don't know if there's a but to it. I think I would just rather this have +2/+0. Because you want to attack in. Does it just make it harder for them to block appropriately? Make it harder for them to trade? I don't know how to evaluate this. SBMTG was very low on this card. But I think Toxic is going to be more, you know, relevant than people might think in Limited, especially. You know, if you're sitting there doing your strat, next thing you know, they're about to toxic you out, and you can't even swing in right. We'll see. We got to see how it plays out. Tamiyo's Immobilizer. 4 mana, 3 generic, and a blue. Tamiyo is artifact, uncommon. Tamiyo's Immobilizer enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. That's another mechanic. To me, it's not necessarily a mechanic. It's more like a keyword, but you know. You can tap, remove an oil counter from Tamiyo's Immobilizer, tap target artifact or creature. 4 mana and gets 4 oil counters, so for 4 turns you get to just straight up tap it, tap down artifact or creature. I think people are going to play it. I was looking back at that flyer. I'm like, right now, I'm like, I don't know what I think is showing the power yet. Next, we have the Filigree Silex, 2 generic mana, legendary artifact. It is rare. You can tap, put an oil counter on the Filigree Silex. Also, it's a legendary artifact. You can tap it, sacrifice the Filigree Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on the Filigree Silex. Ooh. Oh no. Remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice Filigree Silex. It deals 10 damage to any target. Yep, that's a banger. That's an absolute banger of a card. 2 mana, I can just let it sit there on the battlefield, you know, and sacrifice whenever, like if I need to blow up the whole board, or just keep putting oil counters on it, proliferate and put oil counters on it, sacrifice it 10 damage to any target, which is probably gonna be my opponent's face. Okay, so far that's my favorite. The Filigree Silex, that's really nice. I think that's really strong. Alright, next is Saw Blade Scamp, 1 red mana. Creature Phyrexian Beast. It's common, has haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Saw Blade Scamp. Tap it, remove an oil counter from it. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. I like ping damage, you know? If I can ping, 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 ping. That was a red card. I cannot think of it, but it was in a pretty powerful mono red build, and you could tap it whenever you played a non-creature spell. It untapped. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was really sweet. Helped me win a lot of games. Even though you can swing in with this still, so I don't know. I wish you could like deal damage equal to the number of oil counters you removed. That would be pretty sweet, but it is common, so your 1 mana hasty boy, if you want to try to go aggro, is right there for you. Next we have Oxidia Finisher, 7 mana, 5 generic, 2 red creature, ogre, rebel. Look at him. Look at him. Ready to do some work like a mutated gorilla, like a Hulk gorilla type deal. Yeah, anyway. Creature, ogre, rebel. It's uncommon, has an affinity for equipment, has trample, 7/5. It's in the name. Oxidia Finisher. Has affinity for equipment. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each equipment you control. I don't play a lot of equipments. In limited, I like to play my creatures. I like to play my removal. That's pretty much it. But I'm still trying to work on being a little more versatile. Maybe make some gimmicky decks, stuff that people kind of want to see if it works or not. I don't know if I'm that good yet, but you run what? Probably 4 or 5 equipment, like if that's what you're trying to put together. And I think there's equipment that has for Mirrodin, which is another set mechanic, that when it ETBs makes a creature. So that would make that would be an Oxidia Finisher deck. Like for as many of those as you can get and get that value, yeah. But just by itself, no. Next we have Gleeful Demolition. 1 red, sorcery, destroy target artifact. If you control that artifact, create 3 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens. So 1 mana, destroy your own artifact, create 3 Phyrexians. I feel like there's a lot of versatility on this card because you have the option to just blow up their artifact for 1 mana. Boom, it's done. The Filigree Silex, boom, it's gone. Don't have to deal with it anymore. But you also have the choice. Oh, I got a little. I don't know. I don't think they have treasures in this set, but maybe like a little side piece artifact. Just like, I need 3 creatures right now. I like it. Gleeful Demolition. I like it a lot, actually. It's uncommon, so I don't know how many you're going to see, but I think it's pretty cool. Resistant Skywarden. 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 red, creature, ogre, rebel. So the ogres are like, hey, this is our planet. This is our plane. Has menace and reach. 5/5. I like that. Menace, reach. On something like this, people are going to forget that it has both. I promise you. They're going to forget it has menace, and they're going to forget it has reach. I might as well just set up a counter right now for how many times people are going to forget that. Then it's on the 5, so you're getting a 5/5 for 5 mana with menace and reach. That's a lot of value on that freaking spell. You can crash in when you need to, probably make them have to trade unnecessarily or to your benefit. Yeah, let's go. Next we have Expand the Sphere. 4 mana, 3 generic and a green sorcery. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you put fewer than 2 lands on the battlefield this way, proliferate a number of times equal to the difference. Oh, man. So it's a ramp spell, and granted, you typically want to ramp for like 1, 2, or 3. I know, but it's a ramp spell for 4 potentially. Now, if you choose, you can choose not to put the lands out there, and if you do, you can proliferate 1 to 2 times. I don't know. I think somebody's gonna jack me up with this. What? Like you run these, you're ramping, and then you proliferate twice potentially. Now I haven't seen a lot to put counters on things. Like we have the oil counters, but I haven't seen a lot to put like +1/+1 counters on anything yet. So we have to see. But if there's like, it's a proliferate set. If there are solid +1/+1 counters out there, this is going to be amazing. Next we have Incisor Glider, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white, artifact creature, Phyrexian construct. It's common, flying, and it has corrupted, another keyword or set mechanic ability. Whenever Incisor Glider attacks, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. It's a 1/3. Yes! I love flyers. I love them, I love them, I love them. A 2 mana flyer. I know it's a 1/3. That's way better than a 1/2 or a 1/1. And if you happen to incorporate the poison strat along with it and proliferate, like I said, I think there might potentially be some good white green stuff going on with the poison counters. So I would run my Infested Flesh Cutter. I'd run my Filigree Silex and my Incisor Glider. Yeah. Oh yeah, give them to me. I'll probably run as many of these as I could. They don't have toxic, but you can give them toxic with prosthetic injector if you so need to. Make their butt a little bigger. You know, get that BBL if you will. Next we have Urabrask Anointer, 4 mana, 3 generic and a red, artifact creature, Phyrexian Wizard. That's a Phyrexian Wizard? Huh. I wonder, I wonder what the concept was for that. It makes me think of the dude from Marvel, the Eater of Worlds, that the Fantastic Four typically go against. So many names escape me. But anyways, cool concept, I guess. A red wizard from Phyrexia. When Urabrask Anointer enters battlefield, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of permanents you control with oil counters on them. No. I love dealing that direct damage. That is really solid, and it's an ETB trigger. You get enough oil counters on the board. Now, granted, you're running 40 cards. How many permanents you're going to have with oil counters on them? I don't know. Especially if this is, say you're running 2 or 3 of these, this doesn't come in with an oil counter on it. They don't have, oh, wizards. At least let this come down. You feel? And put 1 oil counter on itself. Is that too much to ask? You know, you give it ability like this, put 1 oil counter on it. Moving on, Unnatural Restoration. 2 mana, 1 generic, and a green. Sorcery, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Proliferate. Green players rejoice. I know they're going to jack me up with this. You know what? I'm going to actually make an effort this season to play some green spells. Green, I play white pretty well, black, blue, and sometimes even red. But when it comes to green, I feel like I just fumble. I just don't get the value I want out of it. I'm gonna really work on that this set. Next we have Feed the Infection. 4 mana, 3 generic, and a black. Sorcery, draw 3 cards, and lose 3 life. Has corrupted. Each opponent that has 3 or more poison counters lose 3 life. 4 mana, draw 3 cards, lose 3 life. I don't want to deal 3 damage to myself for no reason. And then they have to be corrupted for this to work against them. Maybe if I'm working lifelink, like if I'm playing a white black lifelink, green black lifelink or something like that, this wouldn't be a problem. It's 4 mana, draw 3 cards essentially, and maybe even drain them 3 life as well. So it really depends on if I get me enough of those life gain spells. Next up we have Volt Charge, 3 mana, 2 generic and a red instant. Volt Charge deals 3 damage to any target. Proliferate. That any target for me is just like hallelujah. Yes, that's what I want to see. Not just creature, not just planeswalker or something like that, or no, any target. Let me have that freedom to do what I want. And then it also has proliferate. And it's common. Oh man, there's gonna be volt charges going on left and right. Volt charge, volt charge. Next we have Succulent Canal Dwelling. Succulent Canal Dwelling. Death Touch Toxic 1. Abzan Toxic, if you will. Is that what people want now? Oh, that might be too close. But let's see if I can fix this. There we go. There we go. No, I don't want to block the other stuff, but I don't want that stuff behind me. We'll do a little something like that. I'll just move it around as I need to. Anyway, Death Touch Toxic 1. Not much to say about it. I mean, it's going to block well for you. Can attack well for you if they have good, creatures to attack into. I personally think Toxic gonna be very dangerous. I'm gonna be on guard for anything that has it. Next we have Noxious Assault. 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 green sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. Man, so for 5 mana, I think they call it Overrun. For 5 mana, you get +2/+2 until end of turn. And then, if they're like, oh man, I can't take all that damage. Oops, well, you're getting some poison counters, my guy. I'm going to have to run one of them. I'm going to have to. And see if I want to get a game with Noxious Assault. Just like, boom, I'm done. Next we have Jawbone Duelist, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Creature, Phyrexian Soldier, uncommon, double strike, toxic 1, 1/1. Huh. Double strike, toxic 1. Oh, ooh. So you swing in here, they're getting 2 poison counters. Yikes. I like it. I'm white white poison so far is what it looks to be. That's white green poison really. It's crazy to like I'm not really versed on poison from back in the day. I don't know if white typically had poison abilities, but that's interesting to see so many now. Maybe it's because like what's the name? Dang it, the main creature of the set, the main Phyrexia person is a not a full white creature, but a white base creature. And look at him. I don't know how I like the concept for some of these Phyrexian guys. That's just it's kind of disgusting. Like it's unique, I'll say that much, but it's kind of like a exposed like a reverse mummy mutant guy. Like I might not play Jawbone Duelist because he is pretty dang ugly, but we'll see. Next we have Apostle of Invasion, 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 white creature Phyrexian Angel, uncommon, flying, corrupted as long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Apostle of Invasion has double strike, 4/4. What can you ask for? 4/4. I mean, oh, I thought I was gonna say 4/4 for 5. No, it's 6 mana. Makes me a little weary to play it. Like now, it can be a 6 mana double striker, 6 mana dealing 8 damage, but got Wendy's on the brain. Man, I would have loved if he was a 4/4 for 4, but he's not. He is not a 4 for 4. He is a 6 for 4 with potential double strike, and that's not always great. Now, if it was just automatic double strike, maybe, but this is probably going to get passed by me several times. Next, we have Sinew Dancer, a 1 white creature Phyrexian soldier, common. Pay 4, 3 generic and a white, tap target creature. Corrupted, pay white, tap target creature. Activate only if the opponent has 3 or more poison counters. So I think Corrupted is going to be pretty easy to achieve in white. I might be speaking too soon. I think it will be. And if you're able to tap down the opponent's creature as necessary, they might have to make some pretty damaging blocks or allow some pretty damaging damage through to help get those poison counters in. So there's a chance I could be even trying to do a mono white build. I don't know. Next we have Swooping Lookout, 1 white artifact creature Phyrexian construct, flying, vigilance, 1/2. Flying, vigilance, 1/2. Yes, I'm gonna play that all day. Like this gives me reasons to like play the equipments. I just get all these, swing in the air. Easy money. Sword of Forge and Frontier, 3 generic mana. Artifact equipment, it's mythic. Alright, let's go. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and green. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land this turn, equipped for 2. Alright, I mean, solid. I'll play it. Because why not? Especially if I'm in a white build at the moment. You know, that's what I'm looking at. Fly overhead, deal damage. Deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. Not one of them. Not one of them, but you get to play both of the cards. No, I'm using Mythic Spoiler to show the cards. And so yeah, that's what the ad is. It's Mythic Spoiler making their coins on their end. But yeah. Next we have Atraxa Grand Unifier. It's 7 mana, 3 generic, green, white, blue, and black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Angel, mythic. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. When Atraxa Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may reveal a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. You may put one of those into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you have Artifact, Battle, which is pretty new, Creature, Enchantment, Instant, Land, Planeswalker, and Sorcery. I'm gonna try to play it. I'm gonna try to play Atraxa. Like, if I see it. Like, Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. But my issue with these cards, every single time you play it, and they're like, oh, we were waiting for that. Kaboom. And my heart just goes, no. And it's just like, yeah. Now this comes into the battlefield. It gives you the option to look, by the time you play 7 mana, say you play it on curve, you start with 7 lands, so, had 33 cards left in the deck. When you start, you draw 7 cards to get to 7 lands. So that's like, 20... like maybe 26 cards left in your deck. So you have like half your deck, well, over half your deck left when you play the card. How many options you're going to really hit, I don't know. But I'm willing to give it a try. And if it lands on the turn, Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink, they can't remove it. They're done. They're done. Very exciting card. Going to be hard to play. We got to see what kind of mana base we're going to get. Like dual lands will help. Mana rocks for sure. Next we have Evolved Spinoderm. Already starting off questionable. Evolved Spinoderm. It's a 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 green creature, Phyrexian Beast. Evolved Spinoderm enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. It has trample as long as it has 2 or fewer oil counters on it. Otherwise, it has hexproof. So, when it ETBs, this is a 4 mana 5/5 hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from Evolved Spinoderm. If it has no oil counters on it, sacrifice it. That's pretty good. 4 mana 5/5 with hexproof. So they can't interact with it immediately. Then, after 2 turns, it gains trample, loses hexproof. By then, this is relevant because they sometimes print green cards that give your creature like hexproof or indestructible. But you need, if you're trying to slam it down on curve, your creature, you have to wait till the next turn to really respond. If this comes down with hexproof, you have the freedom, unless they play a sacrifice spell, to hold up your protection spell. So that's really nice. And then later, it gains trample and still be a 5/5. And with proliferate, you can mitigate how this operates. It's like, oh, I'm gonna target, now that your guy is, 2 oil counters on it, I'm a target. No, I'm a proliferate. Hopefully instant speed, boom, it gains hexproof. That's I like a lot. Next we have Capricious Hellraiser. 6 mana, 3 generic, 3 red, creature, Phyrexian Dragon. This spell costs 3 to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard. This is a mythic spell. Has flying. Whenever it enters battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. It's a 4/4. So it's a 6 mana 4/4 that can be a 3 mana 4/4 flyer with the ETB trigger that lets you play something for free. It got to be good though. It got to be something like, then it's random too. If your graveyard has 9 cards in it, that's gonna be, I mean, really random, right? Now, if you play this on curve and you have like, 3 cards in your yard, you kind of know, like, okay, cool, I know what I'm gonna get. There's some potential in that card. There's a gamble in this card, but at the end of the day, it's still a 6 mana 4/4 flyer. That's similar to what we saw with the Apostle of Invasion, but this can potentially have double strike. This potentially gets you something for free and potentially can be played for less. So I don't know. Should it be mythic? I think this could be rare. I don't know if this should be mythic. Like, I think the ability's cool, but mythic is kind of, it should scream broken to me. This doesn't seem broken. Next we have Tyrannax Rex, 7 mana, 4 generic, 3 green, creature, Phyrexian dinosaur, mythic. I didn't mention it with the Capricious Hellraiser. Love the artwork. The artwork's fire. Amazing. And I bring that up because this Tyrannax Rex artwork is amazing as well. I really get the Phyrexian vibe, and it's not like the Phyrexian humanoids, like this Jawbone Duelist. It's like meat from Mortal Kombat. No, this artwork's pretty fire. But anyways, it's a creature, Phyrexian dinosaur, mythic. This spell can't be countered. Yay. Trample, Ward 4. Trample, Ward 4, and haste with Toxic 4. It's an 8/8. This is what I'm talking about. So I asked if Capricious Hellraiser, like, does this deserve to be mythic level? I'm really curious, because you look right to the next card, it is 1 mana more expensive, but it just screams value. Like, as soon as I start reading the card, the spell can't be countered. Boom. Like, limited is not so relevant, except for those goons that's like, hey, I'm gonna counter you. Then trample. This thing's an 8/8 with trample, Ward 4. So they and haste. Slam this down and turning it. Then it has Toxic 4. Yes, all day. Way better than Capricious Hellraiser, in my opinion. We'll see. But so far, this is probably one of the most powerful spells I've seen out of this lineup. It's pretty expensive to play, but even if you have a couple mana rocks, you play this. Say you play it for 5 mana, your opponent is done. And it's not even on, like, it's an 8/8 for 7. It's not even an 8/8 for 8. Yay, I'll take it. Give it to me. Yay. Love it. Next, I want to just go back to it. Anyways, Nimraiser Paladin, 5 mana for generic and a black, creature, Phyrexian Knight with Toxic. Whenever Nimraiser Paladin enters battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. It's a 4/4. Meh. This could have been common. Toxic 2 I think is cool, but on a 5 mana body with 4, like a 4/4 body for 5 mana, not too exciting. Especially to be an uncommon spell. Womp womp. Next we have Vanish into Eternity. 3 mana, 2 generic and a white instant. This spell costs 3 more to cast if it targets a creature. Exile target non-land permanent. Why? So, it's common, I get it, But to exile a creature, I have to pay 6 mana. That's not good to me. Like, you can exile non-land permanents, but they're usually trying to get rid of the creatures in limited. Next we have Mesmerizing Dose, 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 blue, enchantment aura, enchant creature. When Mesmerizing Dose enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, then proliferate. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So far, blue has been very underwhelming. We've only seen like, what, 2 blue cards? 3 blue cards? They're just like, okay. I mean, there's blue cards in the set. Wonderful. It's just a common, but Mesmerizing Dose, 3 mana, you know, make him go to sleep. Alright. I don't know, I feel like I like these designs for the humanoid Phyrexians a little more than the previous design on this guy. I'm going to just keep talking about this Jawbone Duelist. He is ugly. That is one ugly creature. Jeez. Anyways. Next we have Anointed with Affliction, 2 mana, 1 generic and a black instant. Exile target creature if it has mana value 3 or less. Corrupted. Exile that creature instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. Alright, so you could probably go white-black poison, white-green poison, black-green poison. Like, there's options for this whole poison counters, corrupted type situation going on. I'm going to have to still evaluate. First, I want to evaluate which color is the strongest at doing it. Then see what color's the second best at doing it. But yeah, I like Anoint with Affliction, and if black has the better removal, I might lean towards black for the I mean, of course black's gonna have better removal than green. White-black poison it is. Anyway, Hex Gold Slash, 1 red instant. Hex Gold Slash deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature has Toxic, Hex Gold Slash deals 4 damage to that creature instead. Man, so you kind of get punished for having a little bit of Toxic out here against red. Red's like, oh man, that creature has Toxic. I can do 2 more damage to it. Bet. I like it. 2 damage to target creature. If it has Toxic, 4 damage. I still prefer the deal damage straight to the opponent type deal or any target. So I won't, be trying to fight to grab this, but it's still decent. Carnivorous Canopy, 3 mana, 2 generic and a green. Sorcery. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. If that permanent's mana value was 3 or less, proliferate. Sorcery speed, but it can destroy artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. There's a good number of artifacts from what I'm seeing, so that's relevant. Enchantment-wise, haven't really seen any that make me scared. But there might be. Wish this was instant, and it has proliferate value. They got me saying so many jumbly words today. But yeah, similar to this Hex Gold Slash, I'm not overwhelmed by it. It's not too exciting, but it's going to do what you need it to do in the color it's in. So I need to take a quick break, and then I will be right back. I'm going to put on a jam, I guess, here from the YouTubes. We'll be listening to Goldie Roger.
I feel like Roger, way up in gold. I like a god, they chase what I hold. King of the pirates, they look to my guidance, and now they go ride for lands I foretold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. They don't forgot the fame that I hold. King of the pirates, they wanna go find it and leave it behind, my treasure in gold. Sometimes I feel like I'm Roger. They gon' ride for my coffers. They want me to be mad, they want what I have, I want them to prosper. Yeah, we dealing gold with no coppers. Chopper flow, they broke with no doctors. Cop the throne and shown them my roster. Pirate king, they want what I offer. Box him out, leave a man like Gaiman. Josie flow, held these hands like diamonds. Talk with kings like Poseidon. Got the power scalers whining about bad writing. Sit down, had to let they wobble, they got big mouths. They ain't never messing with the king's crown. You gate to weevils, they be my sons, but they act like they discount. I got my ships out, act like they gin. How they change when they see how we eating. Watch how I'm leading, I stay ahead of the show, how I'm reading. Cousins, oh god, I got leave out by freezing. Malnutrition, how your berries low. Down so bad, you need a periscope. I keep a long arm like it's Jerry's coach. With this goat rise, that's how Mary flows. Judge on me, I don't need a jury. Watch a big brother like I'm category. I go Frankie on them, now they're cyberbullies. Be like Eva, how I'm turning pricks to pussies. They be wanting pleasure like my name was Dizzy. Dropping kilos on them like I'm Valentine. You gon' see the worst like I'm a super rookie. I be leaving oceans like a paradise. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. Act like a god, they chase what I hold. King of the pirates, they look to my guidance, and now they go ride for lands I foretold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. They don't forgot the fame that I hold. King of the pirates, they wanna go find it. I'm leaving behind my treasure in gold. It's Hucky, I'm taming the crowd. Apu, I'll make them drop when I'm loud. Done with these pirates, they act like they Eneru. They think they're gods, but their heads in the clouds. Burn to the ground, they be watching like Chow Chow. I got the clutch to make Goro say bow down. Fucked around and they found out. Feet flames, I hit them like Sanji Roundhouse. And my scripts in poneglyphs and redstone. Had your dinner, do it big, I'm well known. Man's like him, they wanna win, but they won't. Afro King, I'm in the ring like KO. Knockout, man's like God when the rock's out. Put in the place like it's lockdown. Dropping these ops and I've lost count. Scratch out the numbers, man's got a bingo card that I've crossed out. Read it back, Xing them out like a treasure map. I'm spitting knowledge like teching rants. They battle with less protection than even Rebecca has. I got a pen and it gives life. Devils like pirates, they know I'm gon' bid high. I got my crew at my back in a fist fight. They call me Roger, my death is what people gon' live by. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. Act like a god, they chase what I hold. King of the pirates, they look to my guidance, so now they go ride for lands I foretold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. They don't forgot the fame that I hold. King of the pirates, they wanna go find it. I'm leaving behind my treasure in gold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. Act like a god, they chase what I hold. King of the pirates, they look to my guidance, so now they go ride for lands I foretold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. They don't forgot the fame that I hold. King of the pirates, they wanna go find it. I'm leaving behind my treasure in gold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. Act like a god, they chase what I hold. King of the pirates, they look to my guidance, and now they go ride for lands I foretold. I feel like Roger, way up in gold. They don't forgot the fame that I hold. King of the pirates, they wanna go find it and leave it behind, my treasure in gold. Sometimes I feel like I'm Roger. They gon' ride for my coffers. They want me to be mad, they want what I have, I want them to prosper. Yeah, we dealing gold with no coppers. Chopper flow, they broke with no doctors. Cop the throne and shown them my roster. Pirate king, they want what I offer. Box him out, leave a man like Gaiman. Josie flow, held these hands like diamonds. Talk with kings like Poseidon. Got the power scalers whining about bad writing. Sit down, had to let they wobble, they got big mouths. They ain't never messing with the king's crown. You gate to weevils, they be my sons, but they act like they discount. I got my ships out, act like they gin. How they change when they see how we eating. Watch how I'm leading, I stay ahead of the show, how I'm reading. Cousins, oh god, I got leave out by freezing. Malnutrition, how your berries low. Down so bad, you need a periscope. I keep a long arm like it's Jerry's coach. With this goat rise, that's how Mary flows. Judge on me, I don't need a jury. Watch a big brother like I'm category. I go Frankie on them, now they're cyberbullies. Be like Eva, how I'm turning pricks to pussies. They be wanting pleasure like my name was Dizzy. Dropping kilos on them like I'm Valentine. You gon' see the worst like I'm a super rookie. I be leaving oceans like a paradise.
Ayo, I am back. Still discussing the Phyrexia All Will Be One spoilers. Oops, there we go. Alright. Next we have Resistance United. 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Instant, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Equip creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Takes some work. It takes some work to do. Oh. I didn't know I could get rid of it. I thought it had to be there. Anyways. So yeah. If you are running the equipment deck, it's solid. If not, I don't know if that card's that great. Next we have Minor Misstep, blue. Blue is looking underwhelming. Very underwhelming. Counter target spell with mana value 1 or less. What up, Kyle? Hope you're doing well today. Thank you for pulling up to the stream. So yeah, counter target spell with mana value 1 or less. In limited, I'm just not gonna care. I'm not to never gonna play this. And it's uncommon. Next we have Necrogen Rot Priest. 4 mana, 2 generic, a black and a green creature, Phyrexian zombie cleric with toxic. Whenever a creature you control with toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. Pay 3, 1 generic, a black and a green, target creature you control with toxic gains death touch until end of turn. Could be relevant. Could be. What I think is really cool is whenever a creature you control with toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. So you drop this on a turn where they didn't expect to, you to have enough toxic to really push through or poison. Boom, you slam this. Like say you have 3 toxic creatures and they're able to get in with toxic 1. That all of a sudden doubles, That's insane. I think green black toxic with something like a piece like this in the uncommon slot could be really, really good. Next we have Mirren Safe House, 3 generic artifact. As long as Mirren Safe House is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. Nah. Okay, I guess. Yeah, like in limited, it's not going to do anything. These are the commander cards. I'm not really going to go over those. Okay. Maybe I'll go over commander cards another day, but I'm going to stick to the standard limited set cards for the moment. Next we have Staff of Completion. Completion with the A inside. 3 generic mana. It's an artifact mythic, and it has several modes. Tap, pay a life, destroy target permanent you own. Why would I do that? Destroy target permanent you own. Like, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. I like that. I mean, you got to pay the 2 life to do it, but it's on the card with multiple modes. Pay 3 life. Oh, God. Yikes. This is actually bad. There's mana rocks where you don't have to pay 3 life to just ramp. Pay 3 life, proliferate. I'm not doing that. Pay 4 life, draw. I'm not doing none of this stuff. I'm not doing these things. I would have to be in a full, just balls to the wall life gain deck to want to play this. And why the heck would I ever want to destroy my own permanent? I guess if they take control of my permanent, then I can destroy it. A 3 mana rock where you had to pay 2 mana, 2 life every time you want to get a mana. I don't know. I'll have to be in a very, very good position to be able to get all the benefit of this card. And I haven't seen a lot of lifelink, if I've seen any, so verdict's out on that. Because if I can gain life, shoot, I can play this all day. If I can't gain life, I'm putting my opponent in a position where they can just crack back in on me and take the game. Next we have Mere Convert, 2 generic mana, artifact creature, Phyrexian Mire. I prefer saying Mire. Toxic 1, You can tap it, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. It's a 2/1. Don't tell me that. I mean, it's any color. Any color. I got to keep that in mind. So if I'm wanting to play like something like what we had up here going on, Atraxa, Grand Unifier. I mean, I might have to bank on that had lifelink. Yeah. We'll use those mana rocks to play our Atraxa Grand Unifier. That way we don't have to stress about the life we lose from the cards. There we go. Next we have Ossification, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white, enchantment aura, uncommon. When Ossification enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Ossification leaves the battlefield. If you need your removal, it's fine. Try not to play it on creatures that got good ETBs because they could blow this up or something like that. This is so when it enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker, that 2 mana. That's at 2 mana. So that's actually pretty good. Until it leaves the battlefield, and they have to have enchantment removal specifically. I'm with it. And I like the artwork. This is way better than dude up here. Jawbone Duelist is just tragic. They seem to have similar structures going on the arms, or are these weapons? These might just be Phyrexian weapons. Like, this guy's not, you know, a beauty queen or anything here, but oh no. Anyway, losing track. Next we have Sheoldred's Edict, 2 mana, 1 generic and a black. Choose one at instant speed, uncommon. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker. Alright, I mean, so far I'm looking to play like an Abzan, like in Limited even. You gotta see how my lands shape up. I'm looking to play like an Abzan, Toxic, Trampley type situation. It looks like you got the removal for it. Looks like you got, you know, the creatures for it. So far, so good. Blue and red are looking pretty underwhelming to me so far. Let's see how it shapes up. Blade Hold Warship. Wait, what? Blade Hold War Whip. Dang, they hit me with the tongue twisters. 3 mana, 1 generic, a red and a white. Artifact, equipment, uncommon. For Mirrodin. When the ETBs, create a 2/2 rebel creature token, then attach this to it. So that's what I mentioned earlier. For Mirrodin kind of makes their own creatures when they enter the battlefield. I like that. Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate. Okay. Equip creature has double strike. And equip for 5. Sheesh. So if you really want to make your white-red aggro deck work, go right ahead. Pieces like this may help. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna give the white-red aggro deck a try because I think there are gonna be pieces for it. Especially with For Mirrodin and like that curve topper guy we mentioned earlier. So anyway, let's continue. Experimental Augury, 2 mana, 1 generic and a blue. Instant, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Proliferate. Proliferate's good, but if, I don't know, this isn't really exciting either. It's a common spell. You know, prowess isn't really happening. Anytime you play a instant or sorcery, get a counter or something. If there's a card in here in blue that says every time, you know, you play instant or sorcery, get a counter or something along those lines, great. Otherwise, I don't know how I feel about Experimental Augury. It doesn't seem that great. It's just Anticipate or something along those lines with Proliferate. Annex Sentry, 3 mana, 2 generic and a white. Artifact Creature, Phyrexian Cleric. Toxic 1, when Annex Sentry enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. Okay, I like the art is really cool. Instead of looking just like complete absolute muscle, it kind of have this like, it might be clothes, but like a ribbon vibe to it. The art's really cool to me. You know, it's not trying to be human in any way. It's more like I'm some foreign like creature. You know, I love that. Big ups to if I can't even see the name too small. Big ups to that artist. Has Toxic 1, is a 1/4. Then they gotta blow it up. And it's a removal spell. They gotta blow it up because it can just boom, take out one of their creatures, take out one of their token creatures, never have to worry about it again. Okay, I'll play these. Mono white poison might be comparable to green black poison itself. Mono white's getting a lot of pieces where it's just like, here you go. You can pair it with what you want. Next we have Slaughter Singer, green white creature Phyrexian Cleric with, and it's uncommon. Toxic 2, whenever another creature you control with toxic attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And it's a 2/2, a 2/2 for 2 with Toxic 2. Green white toxic, white black toxic, green black toxic, Abzan toxic. We're getting toxic, baby. We are getting toxic. All I know. Jace the Perfected Mind. 2, it's 4 mana, 2 generic, a blue, and a Phyrexian mana. Legendary Planeswalker Jace, Mythic, completed. You can pay a Phyrexian mana, which can be paid for 2 life. If life was paid, this Planeswalker enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters on it. +1 until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -3, -0. -2, target player mills 3 cards. Then if a graveyard has 20 or more cards in it, you draw 3 cards. Otherwise, you draw a card. -X, target player mills 3 times X cards. So you can play this for 4 and instantly have them mill 15 cards. I was okay, because that's what I would be trying to do. It doesn't seem like there's anything. I mean, so you play this and say you can neg to it to mill them 3 and draw a card. But I feel like this is just something, boom, 15 of your cards in your graveyard. This is the, it's mythic, but it's the best blue card that I've, discussed today. I don't even know if mill's going to be a strategy. Like, you can probably force it. If mill is a strategy, this is going to be great. If mill's not a strategy, I don't know how this is going to necessarily fit. Like, do you first pick this? Of course. Maybe. I don't know. But will it be that oof that you need in your deck, or to even start building around to win games? I mean, milling 15, I'd be sad about it, but I feel like you need more than that. Next, we have Mondrak Glorious Dominus. 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 white, legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. This is a mythic spell. I had to go look again. I was like, that's pretty good. You can pay 1 and 2 Phyrexian mana, sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures, put an indestructible counter on Mondrak Glorious Dominus. So a 4 mana, 4/4 that doubles your tokens. I'm loving it. Mono white. I'll do mono white tokens and toxic. Volshock Splitter. 4 mana, 3 generic and a red, artifact, equipment for Mirrodin. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, and you can equip it for 3. Mondrak. So far, the colors that I be playing is white, black, and green. Take advantage of the toxic poison token strat that is everywhere within those colors. If you're playing white, red, you have, for Mirrodin to look at. And I don't even know what blue's trying to do currently. Blue's just kind of doing his own thing. Next, we have Paladin of Predation. 7 mana, 5 generic and 2 green. Creature Phyrexian Knight. Has Toxic 6. Paladin of Predation can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. It's a 6/7. Artwork is dope. I'll give it that. I'd be afraid to walk up on Paladin of Predation up in the wild. But a 7 mana 6/7 is with pseudo unblockable. I don't know. All right. Serum Sovereign. 5 mana, 4 generic and a blue. Creature, Phyrexian Sphinx. Dope. Flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Serum Sovereign. You can pay a blue, remove an oil counter from Serum Sovereign, draw a card, then scry 2, 4 mana. Okay, so this is kind of what I was mentioning before with that 2 mana blue card that proliferates. Like, you need something to go with it, and I guess blue is going to use oil. Maybe blue and red's going to be using the oil feature more so than toxic and whatnot. A 5 mana 4/4 with flying is okay. They really could have gave like 4/5, right? Made it a little bit better, but it's solid all around. I would probably be tempted to just pick a solid removal spell over this, but if it comes to me, gross, I'll play it. Next we have Ruck Hex Gold Nabber, 3 mana, 2 generic and a red, legendary creature, Goblin Rebel, trample haste. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than Rook Hex Gold Nabber attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rook. It's a 2/2. Huh. Trampley Boy, haste, 2/2. So it can absorb your Mirrodin creatures like equipments. I think that's pretty cool. Red white equipment could be cool. I will give it a try. It's not exciting me so far. It's not like, oh yay, but I want to see how it works at least. Next we have Might Overseer, 4 mana, 3 generic and a white. Creature Phyrexian Soldier. Rare, first strike, as long as it's your turn. Creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have first strike. Pay 4, 3 generic and a Phyrexian. Create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with toxic 1 and can't block. It's a 4/2. There is a solid chance that I would draft a mono white toxic deck. It seems to be where it's almost self-contained. It makes tokens. It has toxic. All it needs is some solid removal. It has flying. Ah, yes. Next we have Kenzo of the Bleak Coven. 5 mana, 4 generic and a black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Vampire with flying. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and has toxic 1. It's a 5/4. I mean, if you got good ETBs, why not? Honestly, just in your green-black toxic strat regardless, this seems to be good. Makes it so, Makes it so you kind of keep your creatures. The creature is a 1/1 that has toxic one, but if it has other abilities, I'm sure it'd be relevant. Hopefully, I like it, and it has flying. A flying 5/4 flyer. Redundant. It's good. Next, we have Goliath Hatchery, 6 mana, 4 generic, and a green. Enchantment rare. When it ETBs, create 2/3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature tokens with toxic 1. It also has corrupted. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, choose a creature you control, then draw cards equal to its total toxic value. Okay, 6 mana to make 2 green beasts with toxic. So it's not necessarily a 3/3 for 3 or a 6/6 for 6. It's 2 3/3s for 6 with toxic 1. I don't know how to feel about that. On an enchantment on top of all of that, I'm interested to see how that plays out. Next, we have a couple of walkers. We got Nissa, Ascended Animus, 7 mana, 3 generic, 2 green, 2 Phyrexian mana. Legendary Planeswalker Nissa. It's mythic with completed green. You can +1 create an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token where X is Nissa Ascended Animus's loyalty. So you drop this, say for 7. You can get a you can +1 and make a 7/7. Next turn +1 make a 8/8. You can drop it for 1, -1. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Cool. -7 until end of turn. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. White green toxic, green black toxic is gonna bop. Is gonna bop. Absolute bomb right here on Nissa. Absolute bomb right here on Nissa. Hey. Next we have Tyvar. Everything about Nissa was great. Bomb. Pick it. Definitely better than Jason Limited. In my personal opinion. Initial impressions. Next we have Tyvar Jubilant Brawler, 3 mana, 1 generic, a black and a green. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. So, like, a creature with a tap ability can come down. It doesn't have haste, but you can go on and tap it. Maybe that's relevant. You can +1, untap up to 1 target creature. Okay. -2, mill 3 cards. Then you may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. I like that. I've been tinkering with a mono white build that kind of revolves around bringing creatures 2 or less, 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. I love doing that. So I could, in your green black toxic build, I can see Tyvar just slotting right in. I don't like to personally mill, so I don't know. I don't know how high I would be on Tyvar myself, and it's only getting the 2 or less from the graveyard, so it really depends on how many of those creatures you really are running. Next we have Vraska's Betrayal Sting, 6 mana, 4 generic, a black and a Phyrexian with completed black. You can +0, you draw a card and you lose 1 life, proliferate. So when I first saw it, I was like, it doesn't even tick up. Not realizing it gets an additional loyalty counter. So that is it ticking up when it proliferates. -2, target creature becomes a treasure artifact with tap it, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and loses all other card types and abilities. Broken. This starts at 6. -9. If target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. Yep. Yep, these are mythic quality. Green black I think is going to be my no, Abzan, because all three I think white is showing that kind of synergize solely with itself. Maybe white green toxic. Green black with these planeswalkers as options, they're the most powerful walkers available. So yeah, I definitely want to try to play them. Nahiri the Unforgiving, 4 mana, a generic, a red, a Phyrexian, and a white. Completed. Red white. You can +1 until your next turn. Up to 1 target creature attacks a player each combat if able. Okay. +1, discard a card, then draw a card. Okay. Exile target creature or equipment card with mana value less than Nahiri's loyalty from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If you're going red-white artifacts, and this is like, and you pass up Vraska and Nissa, or just abundance of other options to do it, you end up with Nahiri, I guess you're somewhat happy. Red-white's looking very underwhelming. Very, very, very underwhelming. Maybe it can kind of combine with Toxic to do something, but eh. Kaya, Intangible Slayer, 7 mana, 3 generic, 2 white, 2 black, legendary planeswalker, rare, has hexproof. Okay, +2, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. You're gonna need that. You're gonna freaking need that. You draw 2, you can +0, you draw 2 cards, then each opponent may scry 1. Okay, I'll take that. And then -3, exile target creature or enchantment. If it wasn't an aura, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types. I like it. Now, I think white-black toxic could be a thing, you know? So, and if you want to take advantage of some of these spells where you're losing life to do things, having this as a topper, boom, yeah, love it. Next, we have Luca, Bound to Ruin. 4 mana, no, apologies. It's 5 mana, 2 generic, a red, a Phyrexian red green, and a green mana. It's mythic. You can +1, add red green. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. -1, create a 3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature token with toxic 1. And -4, Luca deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control as you activated this ability. Divided as you choose among any number of creatures or planeswalkers, where X is the greatest power. So it's only creatures and planeswalkers, unfortunately, but that's still not bad. That's still not bad. Luca's okay. Suggests maybe there's potential for red-green shenanigans. Didn't look too synergistic to me, but who knows? If I get a Luca and I want to play it, I'm going to go red-green. I'm going to try to go red-green aggro. Here we have Kato, Dancing Shadow. 4 mana, 2 generic, a blue and a black. Has a passive. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return one of them to his owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaito twice this turn rather than once. So it has +1, up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. +0, draw a card. And -2, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Kaido looks okay. Blue-black doesn't look that okay. I don't even know what I'll be trying to do. There's nothing suggestive of drones in this that I've seen so far. See, Kyle says, Luca with Defiler of Instinct. Is that the black one? Or the green one. And you're probably talking about standard. All right. Got another few going here. Koth, Fire of Resistance. 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 red. It's rare. You can +2 it. Search your library for a basic mountain card. Reveal it. Put it in your hand. Shuffle. Alright. -3. Koth, Fire of Resistance deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. They suggesting mono red. Okay. You get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield. This is -7. Whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Yes. So solid. I mean, in limited, I would want to try to go mono red to maximize this value. Is it possible? I don't know. But if I find like crack my pack open, pack one, pick one, Koth, I definitely want to go mono red. And I want to mono red proliferate. But this is only one card. There's not really a build around that I see in limited that goes with it. So I don't know. It's hard to tell so far. I got to see all of the pieces. Next we have Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, 5 mana. Elish Norn, that's the name of the card I was talking about earlier, the one I forgot. The queen of the set, the king of the set, whatever you want to call her. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, 5 mana, 4 generic and a white, legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. It's mythic, has vigilance. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Doubling triggers. Gotta have some good ETBs for that. Enter the battlefield abilities. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. Yeah, I'll play this. The mono white build I think is shaping up in limited. I really do think that's just bottom line. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. It's a 4/7. I'd first pick Elish Norn all day and just go about my life. 4/7 with vigilance and see what happens. Next we have Phyrexian Obliterator, 4 mana, all black. It's a creature Phyrexian horror and it's mythic. It's trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. What? It's a 5/5? What am I reading here? It's trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. And it has trample at 5/5. That's 4 mana 5. Yeah, that's dummy. I have to look up some rules. Like, one creature blocks, it dies, but then they have to sacrifice a permanent. Or if they double block it, those two die. They set to sacrifice 2 permanents. That's the way I'm looking at it currently. And if that's the case, that's dummy. That's dummy. Sheesh. Next we have Jor Caden, first Gold Warden. It's a red and a white legendary creature, human rebel with trample. Whenever Jor Caden, first Gold Warden, attacks, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then if Jor Caden's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. I mean, that's what you want to try to pull off that red-white deck, all I know. The red-white deck, see, it's like it wants to kind of be a thing in limited. It kind of wants to. It just don't know if it wants to or not. Slowbad, Iron Goblin, 3 mana, 2 generic and a red. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Goblin Artificer. Tap it, sacrifice an artifact, add an amount of red equal to the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. It's a 3/3. Meh. We also have Blue Sun's Twilight. It's X and 2 blue, sorcery. Gain control of target creature with mana X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of this creature. Of that creature. Yikes. So for 7 mana I can take your best thing and then copy it? This is gonna be painful. Oh, when people do it to me, but it's gonna be so beautiful when I get to do it to them. Oh. Oh. Some of the alternative artworks here. I feel like I'm missing. This is all they're wanting to show. Yeah. So it looks like that'll wrap up from the Mythic spoiler list. I'm going to go to, let's see here. Going to MTG Goldfish, see if I missed anything, because I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet revealing some more things. We talked about Sawblade Scamping, a Rebraska Anointer, viral spawning. I don't know if we spoke about viral spawning. 3 mana, 2 generic and a green sorcery. Create a 3/3 green Phyrexian beast creature token with Toxic 1. Has corrupted as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. And viral spawning is in your graveyard. It has flashback for 3. Okay. Kind of cool. And it's similar to that enchantment I mentioned earlier that makes the 2 3/3s for 6. This is the 3/3, the 3 drop that does it for 3. I figured there would be one. Next we have Malcator Purity Overseer. It's white blue. Okay. It's 3 mana, 1 generic, a white and a blue. Legendary creature Phyrexian Elephant Wizard. Real deal Elephant Wizard here. When Malcator Purity Overseer enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. So this isn't an artifact itself, so it doesn't count for itself. So you're probably going to get this trigger in the next turn if you're able to trigger off more artifacts coming in. Questionable. Very questionable. Next we have, there we go. We have Keteth Crucible Goliath. It's 4 mana, 2 generic, a black and a red legendary creature, Phyrexian beast, rare. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then you put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a 4/4. Love it. Love it. If you're trying to make a snatch and sack deck, this is perfect. You take their thing and be in your instant. Oh no, it's not perfect. Well, no, that should trigger on before. So this should trigger before you give back the creature. You sack their creature. If you do reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary with lesser mana value, put on the battlefield. This would be a great reason to go black-red. That's been the best reason to go something other than green-white or black-green to me. We have Bone Picker Scourge, 3 mana, 2 generic and a black. Phyrexian Imp, common, flying, corrupted. As long as your opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Bone Picker Scourge has Death Touch and Lifelink. Okay, sweet. Blight Belly Rat, 2 mana, 1 generic and a black. Phyrexian Rat with Toxic. When it dies, proliferates a 2/2 for 2. Common level. Oh man, MTG Goldfish has all the translations. We have Vron Executioner Thane, 2 mana, 1 generic and a black, legendary creature, Phyrexian Vampire. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's a 2/2. Okay, I'm sure my creature's gonna die. I'll play this Phyrexian Vampire, and it also looks pretty cool. It reminds me of I think it was called Blade Juggler. Yeah. Next we have, let's see, Tablet of Completion, 2 mana, artifact, rare. Put an oil counter on Tablet of Completion by tapping it. Tap it, add a generic mana. Activate only if Tablet of Completion has 2 or more oil counters on it. So you can't do it immediately. You have to pay 2, tap it, get an oil counter. The next turn, get an oil counter. Then the next turn, you might be able to use it for some ramp. Okay, unless you proliferate. Then pay 1, tap, draw a card. Activate only if Tablet of Completion has 5 or more oil counters. So now I'm starting to see some of the oil relevance, a little more at least. Alright, next we have Serum Core Chimera. 4 mana, 2 generic, a blue, and a red. Creature, Phyrexian Chimera. Uncommon, flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Serum Core Chimera. Okay. Remove 3 oil counters from Serum Core Chimera. Draw a card. Then you may discard a card. When you do, Serum Core Chimera deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. A 4 mana 2/4 that I have to really work to get value off of. Red blue's not looking strong so far, y'all. Personal opinion. Argentum Masticore, 5 mana, generic. Artifact creature, Phyrexian Masticore. It's rare. First strike, protection from multicolored. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Argentum Masticore unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the discarded card. Okay. Just keep cards in your hand. You can just destroy whatever you want. Discard a card. Destroy target non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the mana value. This is and has first strike and protection from multicolored. Yeah, I like this. Goes in every deck, pretty much. Just fling. Love it. Necrogen Communion, 2 mana, 1 generic and a black. Enchantment Aura. Uncommon, enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature has Toxic 2. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Oh, man. There could be some utility there. It doesn't give it like Death Touch or +1/+1 or anything, but it gives Toxic 2 so you can hold it up. Maybe it's a finisher. I don't know. I'm into it. Tyvar's Stand. It's X mana and generic green. I always have a hard time saying that. X green, instant, uncommon. Target creature you control gets XX and gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. I'm surprised this doesn't say like trample or something. Hexproof and indestructible though, and you can play it for 2. Boom, hexproof. I figured that would be something that gave it. Solid. I believe we talked about all of these other ones here. Talked about all of these guys. I think one of my favorite creatures so far is Tyrannax Rex. 7 mana, 8/8 with all the abilities. Okay, I don't think I've seen this. Archfiend of the Dross, 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 black. Creature, Phyrexian Demon, rare. Flying. Archdemon of the Dross enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from Archfiend of Dross. Then if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. Whenever the creature an opponent control dies, its controller loses 2 life. It's a 6/6. I mean, it's a 4 mana. You hit this on curve, it's flying. They have to kill it. I mean, in 4 turns, I mean, that's 24 damage. So if they don't gain life or something, this just game winner right here. Black is looking pretty strong too. Abzan's looking very powerful. Black Sun's Twilight, X, Black, instant, rare. Up to one target creature gets neg X until end of turn. If X is 5 or more, return a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped. So removal that brings back a creature from the yard, give it to me. I'll play it all day. We got some dual lands. So it looks like we're going to have a reasonable set of dual lands. Blade of Shared Souls, 3 mana, 2 generic and a blue. For Mirrodin, equipment. Whenever Blade of Shared Souls becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Blade of Shared Souls remain attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature you control. If I get that Mythic Green, best believe I'm trying to copy it. We got Bloated Contaminator, 3 mana, 2 generic and a green. Phyrexian Beast, rare, trample, toxic 1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate, 4/4. Sheesh. This is crazy. This is a great green card. 3 mana, 4/4 with trample, toxic 1, and proliferate. Yes. We got Conduit of Worlds, 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 green. Is an artifact, rare. You may play lands from your graveyard. Tap, choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, this is interesting. I mean, it lets you recast your cards from your graveyard. It really makes your graveyard your hand to a certain degree. I think it'll be played. Yeah, just quick mention: Black Cleave Cliffs, red black; Copper Line Gorge, red green; Dark Slick Shores, blue black. As long as there's black white, black green, green white lands, I'll be happy. That's what I'm gonna need. Encroaching Mycosynth, 4 mana, 3 generic and a blue. Artifact, rare. Non-land permanents you control are artifacts in addition to their other types. The same is true for permanent spells you control and non-permanent cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. I'll probably never play this card. Blue-red is looking pretty meh. Just bleh. We got Evolved Spinoderm. We talked about that. Solid. Green, black, and white looking great. Just left and right. Next we have Azuri, Stalker of Spheres. 4 mana, 2 generic, a green, and a blue. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Elf Warrior, rare, with some dope artwork. When Azuri, Stalker of Spheres enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. It's a 3/3. Is that going to give green blue some juice? I doubt it. I truly doubt it. But maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth playing. I definitely want to pair my green with something other than blue from what I'm seeing so far. Next we have Geth, Thane of Contracts. 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Zombie. It's rare. Other creatures you control gets -1. -1. Other creatures I control, pay 3, 1 generic, 2 black, tap, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains. If this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate only as a sorcery. It's a 3 mana, 3/4 that I can pay 3 mana and start just bringing my creatures back from the yard. That's interesting. It gives my whole squad -1, -1 though. How to feel about that? Glissa Sunslayer, 3 mana, 1 generic, a black and a green, legendary creature, Phyrexian zombie elf. First strike, death touch. Nice. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you choose one. You draw a card, lose 1 life. Okay. Destroy target enchantment. Okay. Remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. Okay. Green, black. Where's the misses? Where's the misses? The art's even cool. Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut, 8 mana, legendary artifact creature, Juggernaut, rare. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3. Huh? And are Juggernauts in addition to their other types. It's a 7/5. So I can make... You telling me in my mono white deck, I can make a bunch of those little 1/1 mites that can't block, and then switch it up on them. Drop an 8 mana 7/5. Turn all of them into 5/3s. If that's not game winning, I don't know what is. That is crazy. That Graz is nice. I'll definitely be playing that. Jeez. Turn all my creatures into 5/3s. Yes. Yeah. Alright, Green Sun's Twilight. X in a green. Sorcery. Rare. Reveal the top X +1 cards of your library. Choose a creature card and or a land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. So you can choose a creature and a land to do so. And you can put both onto the battlefield if you do 5 or more mana. Next we have Karomonix, the Rat King. 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian rat. Rare, toxic 1. Other rats you control have toxic 1. When I first saw this, I thought it was a dog. I didn't realize it was a rat. When Karomonix enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a 3/3. This is probably the low-hanging fruit of black rares for limited, because I doubt we get enough rats to support this. Next we have Kimba Ka Enduring, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Legendary creature, Cat Cleric. Whenever Kimba Ka Enduring or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creature you control get +1/+1, and you can pay 5, 3 generic and 2 white to create a 2/2 white creature cat token. I said that backwards. Kimba seems nice. Like I said, there's growing suggestion of support for red white, and you can run your Kimba in there. You might have to. What options do you have? Next we have, let's see, Malira, the Living Cure. Green white, legendary creature, human scout. If you would get 1 or more poison counters, instead you get 1 poison counter, and you can't get additional poison counters this turn. Exile it. Choose another target creature or artifact. When it's put into the graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's a 2 mana 3/3 that stops you from getting poison counters in a poison heavy set. Yes, I'll do it. Green white looking good, and it's a 3/3. Mercurial Spelldancer, 2 mana, 1 generic and a blue. Phyrexian Rogue, rare. It can't be blocked. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. Okay. Whenever a Spelldancer deals combat damage to a player, you may remove 2 oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I like copying spells. I just don't, so far I'm not seeing enough support for blue, but 2 mana 2/1 unblockable creature that it doesn't put oil counters on itself. You have to play the non-creature spells. But I mean, non-creature spells is just your removal, right? This makes me be like, okay, I would probably run some blue if I'm gonna run unblockable 2/1s that can potentially recast my spells. Maybe blue red's building up. We already talked about Mirren's Safe House. Monument to Perfection, 2 mana. That art's really cool. Artifact, rare. You can pay 3, tap, search your library for a basic, sphere, or locust land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay. Pay 3, Monument to Perfection becomes a 9/9 Phyrexian construct. Artifact creatures loses all abilities and gain indestructible and toxic 9. Activate only if there are 9 or more lands with different names among basic, sphere, and land locust lands you control. Okay. So you have to really have the lands for this to work out, but if you got the lands, what's the problem? I doubt you'll be able to do that in limited. You have to have 9 or more lands with different names among the basic, sphere, and locust lands. I don't know if I'd pull that off. If anyone knows how to pull that off in limited, please, please, please let me know. Alright, next we have Norn's Wellspring, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white artifact. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. Pay 1, tap, remove 2 oil counters from Norn's Wellspring, draw a card. I'm not big on non-creature, non-removal spells. Too heavy. This is interesting. I don't know if I'd play it though. Next we have Ovika Enigma Goliath. 7 mana, 5 generic, a blue and a red. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Nightmare. Solid. Rare, flying, ward 3, pay 3 life. Alright. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin. Create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. That's, oh man. That's 7 mana though. You gotta get to the 7 mana, then start casting your instants and sorceries. By the time you get to 7 mana, there's a good chance you've already been casting your instants and sorceries. How good will this be? I'm not quite sure. I think it's cool for limited. And it's a 7 mana 6/6, but you're putting all that effort into it. What follow-up spells are you really gonna have to get the value? Let me know. Phyrexian Arena, 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 black enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and lose 1 life. It's tempting, just no. We got some more dual lands. Reververge Thicket, green white. Sea Chrome Coast, white blue. I'm sure we're gonna have green black and white black. I'm sure we're gonna have those. We have Skrelv's Hive, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with toxic 1. As long it has corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with toxic have lifelink. Mono white toxic. Mono white toxic. White green toxic. White black toxic. Abzan toxic. I'm loving it. Mickey D's. I am loving it. Yeesh. Let's keep going. Skrelv, Defector Might, 1 white mana, legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Might, rare, toxic 1. It can't block. You can pay a Phyrexian mana, tap, choose a color. Another target creature you control gains toxic 1 and hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Yeah. White green is looking really strong. White black's looking really, really strong. Mono white is even looking really strong. I think we talked about slow bad. Yeah, we did. The Eternal Wanderer, 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 white, legendary planeswalker rare. Passive, no more than one creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. +1, exile up to one target artifact or creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. Okay. Pay +0, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. Alright. And -4 for each player. Choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifice all creatures they control not chosen that way. Interesting type of removal. But yeah, if I'm playing mono white, bottom line, I'll play this. What's it hurt? Makes samurais with double strike bang in for 4. Shoot. And I wonder if it pairs with the other card and they become 5/3s. Would it just be 5/3 double strikers? Sheesh. We talked about the Filigree Silex. Here's looks like a specialty land here. The Monumental Facade land, it's a sphere, enters with 2 oil counters on it. You can tap it, tap it to get a, is that a waste? Or just generic? I think that's a waste, actually. Remove an oil counter from the Monumental Facade. Put an oil counter on target artifact or creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. The Seed Core Land Sphere rare. Add a mana. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast Phyrexian creature spells. Okay. And with Corrupted, tap, target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if opponent has 3 or more poison counters. So it can make your 1/1s 3/2s. Okay. On a land. I might have mentioned Erebrask Forge, 3 mana, 2 generic and a red artifact rare. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on Erebrask's Forge, then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counter on Erebrask's Forge. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of next end step. Did not talk about that. That's really dope. Red Black Sacrifice might have a little something going on. If I'm thinking of, like, if I'm seeing the pieces come together, Red Black Sacrifice might be there. Venerated Rot Priest, green, creature Phyrexian Druid, rare, toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. It's a 1/2, bruh. This set is toxic. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. This set is going to be toxic. This is crazy. People are going to be dying from poison left and right, and limited especially. Next we have Venzer, Corpse Puppet, a blue and a black, legendary creature, Phyrexian zombie wizard with lifelink and toxic 1. This is the first blue related creature with toxic that I've seen. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 colorless Phyrexian golem artifact creature token, or you can choose target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. It's a 1/3. So are people gonna really try to do something with Phyrexian golems in blue black? I don't know. I don't think I would try. Vindictive Flamestoker, red creature Phyrexian wizard. I like the concept of the Phyrexian wizards. Rare, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Vindictive Flamestoker. Pay 7, 6 generic and a red, sacrifice it, discard your hand, draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less to cast for each oil counter on Vindictive Flamestoker. Okay. It's not bad. Maybe get you 4 cards. Like, say you have no cards in hand anyway. You know, sacrifice this, a 1 mana creature, get 4 cards. White Sun's Twilight, X2 white, sorcery, you gain X life. Create X1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with toxic 1. And if X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Mono white toxic. Yes. Yes, let's do it. That's dummy. That's really good. I like that. Zenith Chronicler, 2 mana, colorless. Artifact creature Phyrexian construct. Rare. Whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. 3/1. I guess. Especially, I mean, actually, if I'm playing mono white, I'm playing Xena Chronicler all day long. He's a 2 mana 3/1 that's gonna basically let me swing in for damage and draw me cards when they're playing their multicolored spells. Yes. We talked about Annex Sentry, Apostle of Invasion, Bilious Skull Welder. We talked about that, yeah. Expand the spheres, feed the infection. This ugly guy. Noxious Assault was really good. Yeah, I think we talked about Slaughter Singer. Augury. Dancer. Well, they got some cool lands going on here. Talked about Atraxa and Capricious Hellraiser, Elish Norn, Mondrak, Phyrexian Obliterator. So still so far my favorite, Tyrannax Rex. I mean, the haste on it is just delicious. I mean, Archfiend of Dross was good too. Yeah. They got some Phyrexian versions of the cards. If y'all want to take a peek at those. Kind of cool, right? Alright, I think that's about it for the cards that are out so far. I'm not going to check another source. That's a good bit of cards I went over today. I'm looking through to see if they reveal the white-black land and the green-black land, the lands we need. Hopefully they do. So yeah, my voice is tired. My voice is tired. So far, if I'm just going to be totally real with you, I feel like mono white is probably the best mono white color. Hands down. If you're going to be in a mono white color, from what I'm seeing so far, mono white is going to be that for you when you're drafting. You know, just pick the cheap, because there's a lot of little cheap spells people are probably going to pass up to try to do more intricate strategies. Now, if you're wanting to go more intricate, I feel like white green or white black would probably be next. And then if you really want to stretch, go into Abzan. There's an argument for green black as well. So, whew, I feel like toxic is where it's at. So mono white, then like white green, then green black. Like, and then white black perhaps. I have to, kind of still look over the cards and see what more comes out in the set. But so far, I'm kind of excited. I'm going to love making tokens and poison countering my opponents out and, just working with the math and the combat damage. It's about to be a blast. Hopefully, I get to play with one of these cool walkers that came out. And, oh, man, it's going to be exciting to see if anyone can even play Atraxa. I mean, that's just tough, but 7/7 with all those abilities. And what the heck is battle? What the heck is battle? But yeah, let's see if I need to bring up anything else. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly go over the mechanics. Why not? We have Toxic. You heard me saying that a lot today. And it's just referring to, see, players dealt combat damage by this creature also gets 6 poison counters. Toxic relates to the number of poison counters the opponent will receive. So if it says toxic 6, you deal damage to the opponent, they're taking that 6 toxic damage. Corrupted operates off of the opponents having at least 3 of the poison counters, and then you just get an array of abilities from that based on what the card says. We have the four Mirrodin. Once again, those are going to be equipment spells that kind of generate a creature when they ETB that attaches right to it. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's what's going to give the red-white deck a chance to do something, but I don't know if I'm seeing enough to make the red-white decks viable. I don't know if I'm seeing enough to make the oil counters viable. It's kind of questionable. They're not a keyword ability, but similar to poison, you got to have bad Monty. Bad move. You got to have certain number of oil counters on your cards to get abilities, and unlike poison, doesn't guarantee you the game win. Then we got proliferate, pump up the amount of counters on everything. You can pump up poison counters, 1/1 counters, oil counters, whatever counters you want. Proliferate's gonna help you with that. So yeah, that's the mechanics. That's an overall of the cards that are out so far. Let me know what y'all think of the set. Phyrexia all will be 1 mechanics. Well, not mechanics, but Phyrexia all will be 1 set. Yeah, it's coming out soon. I'm going to wrap up for today. That was a lot of cards to go over. I thought I was going to have some time to, kind of do a pack opening, but it looks like I'll have to do a pack opening next time. I'm gonna do some eating for now. Let's see. I'm going to show you. I still got a lot of packs to open up. I still got packs from the Brothers War to open up. So definitely going to do that soon, but not right now. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to help my channel grow. Also, love when you leave a comment and share the content on your page. It really helps. As always, you guys are fantastic. My name is Mr.Clintastik. I'll see you guys next time. All will be one.
Straight out the East Blue, call me Luffy, I'm a beast too. Anybody you speak to will tell you what I've been through. I'm as fast as a pistol blasting you suckers. A record that now I'm stepping up, getting rough, get a second. I'm the captain, activating hacky, I'm cracking knuckles, attacking. So buckle up if you're lacking, watch my bounty as it's racking up. You ain't ever stacking up, I will fucking end you if you ever hurt my Nakama. It doesn't matter if you're Navy, you're crazy to face me. The aura of a conqueror, even Kaido is shaky. I'm breaking in, cause I'm made to win. And maybe rubber, but you need protection from this pirate king.
It's roaring over Zora, yeah, my sword's overkill with the blade in my mouth, so my word flow spills more blood from a pirate, marine, a fisherman with gills. I'll cut your verse in half, me, giving me the skills. Scars all on my body, but I'll leave one on your brain. Just ask Kuma when I took in all of Luffy's pain. I don't need a devil fruit if you wanna see my strength. Hard work, yeah, I train to take Pikachu to the grave. Slicing back and forth, you know what I take for playing hockey with my Wado Ichimonji. Wasabi sponsored by Nike, lost my left eye from the waterfalls. I taste what you forgot me, I'm the greatest swordsman. Even after my days, I'll be there on top while I sleep.
The member of the Straw Hats to call me Nami. Luffy set me free and I'm navigating One Piece. No need to judge me, it's just a little bit packing in. But let me give you a lesson here on some chemistry. Using gusts to make you fall back. Do you want a taste of my staff before you see the lightning flash? You're the thunder crash from my climb attack. We be shaking from a thunderlands. Can you dodge a weather-based attack? Go ahead and come at me and I watch you pass through. Tell me which tempo that you want me to use. So many combinations, I don't know which one to choose. Let's get this over with so I can collect your revenue.
Now you're messing with a veteran, I'm better than anybody. I got an army crushing all your skeletons. I head up into battle, leave you rattled with my squad. Pray to me a deity, a sniper, God. I'm a sharpshooter so I can't miss.
over longer distance with advantage. Got the craftsmanship that is demanded. Just Moloch, you won't even understand it. They say I'm lying, but honestly it's all trickery. Literally, I'm just carrying this crew with my abilities. Hitting me, it's unlikely. Come and try to fight me. May have had my issues, but I put all that behind me.
It all started on a ship in the North Blue. A protege to the Zeph, what a cool dude. Cut off his leg trying to save and preserve food. Suddenly now he's got a friend to preserve you. We all try to survive from the violence as we march in an army of pirates. The ocean is a grave full of silence. Enemies wonder where the time went. I remember I was nothing but a thin Joe. My calves on fire, get your face broke as you sleep in the chef who remain woke. They want beef but they don't want the fish smoke.
Everybody get to the chopper. If you got a bounty on your head, I'ma pop ya. Girlies think I'm cute, about to make it rain, dear. All about the money, so the enemy should stay clear. Now I joined in with this great little group of pirates. Don't mess with the squad or we will get violent. Isn't it ironic I bring pain as a doctor? I can see your life when I drop ya. Now what's your tone with Tony, or I'll fold your phonies. Every line should you whine like I rode the pony, and you acting Foley when you saying we don't run street. Straw hat crew when we coming for that one piece.
Last survivor of my hometown, persecuted for my knowledge, so I'm on my own now. We about to go down, chilling with T or we get wild. The name is Nico Robin and I am the devil child. Crew archaeologist, information I'm logging. I got in with the straw hats, now I'm reading poneglyphs. Haven't you forgotten this girl is straight power? See my hands sprouting and blossom like a flower. Intelligence is unmatched, show me where the fun's at. Coming in clutch with these hands growing out your back. Enos lobby finding out that I have more to give. My crew by my side so you know that I want to live.
Here come the tanks worth 94 bills. Can't adapt to any environment like Bear Grylls. Bias when it comes to the straw hats. Take it chill, applying the pressure on your endeavors whenever it gets real. That's the best that you got, probably need to drop. Modification on my cannon, take up the mountaintop. My ranking particle beam, shooting just like a stream. Risen up by your head to mess with your self-esteem. Better start counting your bed when you see my team. Accumulating like a Greg on the